Good morning and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have two American whiskeys, and one is from Kentucky and one is from Tennessee. And the one from Kentucky is Old Charter, old number 8 recipe called today. Used to be called 8-year age. And they also used to have a 10-year age, and they had a 7-year age, and they had different proofs. But this one's 80 proof, no age statement from Buffalo Trace. There's also Old Charter Oaked editions. You can look at Old Charter Oaked, their website, and they have oh French oak and other kind of treatments. And now they say they're coming out with different states. We'll see. Oak trees from different states. Here's George Dickel Tennessee Sour Mash Whiskey, Superior 12 recipe. Now it's been renamed as the Signature, George Dickel Signature number 12. But whatever the case, it's not aged 12 years. There's no age statement on it. So old number 8, number 12, are they trying to make people think it's aged that long? Probably. But anyway, they don't get in trouble for it because they say, they're going to say, well, we never said it was aged 12 years. We just said, that's the name of it. Old number 12. Okay. Number 12 recipe. Introduced 1964 to replace the original George Dickel from 1870, which was called Cascade Whiskey, George Dickel Cascade Whiskey, which I don't think is still made, but you never know with these companies. They might put it out there just to keep the trademark in play so it doesn't expire. But and it might only make one batch a year, sell it around Tennessee, and you never see it. Okay, there's the embossed glass bottle. Price, 90 proof, sour mash, charcoal, mellowed Tennessee whiskey. Handcrafted, Doesn't say, notice that it doesn't say straight Tennessee whiskey. The George Dickel rye does not say straight rye whiskey. So why is it not straight whiskey? We know it's at least 4 years old. By law, the law of Tennessee, we know that Tennessee whiskey has to be aged at least 2 years. We know this is 4 or older, got no age statement. And new charred oak barrels. Has to be at least 51% corn, aged in new charred oak barrels in Tennessee. You say, well, that sounds like bourbon. It is bourbon. But they say, no, it's Tennessee whiskey because it's charcoal mellowed. That's got nothing to do with bourbon. Whether you age, if you filter bourbon through charcoal or you don't, it doesn't have any bearing on if it's bourbon or not. Okay, so let's clear that up. But George Dickel does give their mash bill 84% corn, 8% rye, and 8% malted barley. Corn, rye, and malted barley. All right. It's got a rubber stopper. It's not a cork. It's not a cork. It's neoprene type of rubberized plastic substance that they put on shoe soles. If you have tennis shoes or sneakers or whatever people call those, the spongy rubber at the bottom is neoprene, and it's produced by DuPont, famous chemical company. All right, so that's it. And there's a beautiful twist cap, plastic twist cap. 80 proof, no age statement. So we know both of these are aged at least 4 years. Four. Poured too much. I bought this funnel recently, and I bought it for this express purpose. so that if I over pour it, I can pour it back without wasting like I used to waste it. Good. So I'll just wash the funnel later. Soap and water, and we got it done. So why is it not called straight bourbon? Straight Tennessee whiskey. Why is it not called straight Tennessee whiskey? Well, that's certainly a very interesting question. Could it have something to do with having coloring added to it, such as caramel color? Well, that would disqualify it. What if it is using some sort of flavoring additive, flavoring? That would disqualify it. So I don't know. I never asked. I never contacted the company, and I'm not that concerned. It does have a very strange flavor. Many people have remarked, independently of myself. And what I mean by that is, a while back, I was tasting George Dickel, and this one and the Cascade Hollow, the red label, that they no longer make. And I was saying, this stuff tastes strange. I couldn't understand what it tasted like. And then it hit me. I said, oh, it tastes like Flintstone vitamins from Bayer Aspirin Company. I said, it tastes like Flintstone vitamins. I said, I wonder if any other reviewer ever thought of that. So I started reading written reviews on Distiller and whatnot, distiller.com. Sure enough, about 2 or 3 other people said, yeah, it tastes like Flintstone vitamins. I said, aha. So there you go. The appearance. Oh, they're both, well, this one's a little darker. And I don't know which one it is, because I don't know if I poured enough out or in or whatever. So, but they're close. They're not quite even on the level, but it's so close, I'm not going to stress over it. Price. Yeah, Old Charter run you about $17, and George Dickel's Superior 12 be about $22. So it's a $5 difference. But I didn't pay that price for either one. I didn't pay the regular price. No, for the Old Charter, I paid $8 at Walmart. $8. So I bought a second bottle, gave it to my friend David. I said, after all, I don't see prices like that too much. And then the George Dickel, about a year before that, 2 years before that, they had it at Walmart for $12.50. And also the rye, George Dickel 12 and the rye, $12.50 each bottle. Well, I bought both bottles. $25, 2 full-size bottles of George Dickel. Yes, definitely. Smell like corn. Comes a train. Smells like corn and like a health food store. With all those medicines and vitamins in it. Not medicine, but vitamins. You ever go and I don't know, do they have health food stores anymore? I guess GNC. They had a GNC here, but it closed after the hurricane 2 years ago, Hurricane Ida. The shopping center got wrecked, and they just left. I don't know what was the story with it. I wonder if the vitamin taste might be a character derived from the water treatment process the distiller may apply, says Craft Beer-tastic. It could be. I haven't thought about that. Some kind of minerals in the water, maybe. So I know already which is which, but I'm gonna just play along like I don't know. sweet corn, a little bit of charred oak, and not much of that. Maybe even candy corn, vanilla. You say that's all standard bourbon flavors. Yeah, because Old Charter is quite standard. It's just like plain, if you want to say run of the mill, ordinary bourbon. That's it. You say, what is a bourbon that doesn't stand out in any way and doesn't cost a lot? Because I don't want to pay a lot. I would say Old Charter, $17. Totally not impressive at all. But standard, consistent, good, no problem with it. All right, but you're not going to impress anybody with it. Here it comes. I think it's eastbound. The KC, the CPKC Railroad, Canadian Pacific Kansas City Railroad. Now you say, no, I want a whiskey that's very strange. I don't want to impress anybody. I want to confuse people. I want to make a conversation piece at the next party we're having. I want people to say, what is this strange flavor? Well, spend $22 and get George Dickel Superior 12, or they call it Signature 12 now. But it's so small what they write. You just see 12 prominent. In real small cursive, it'll say Signature Edition or Signature Recipe. The old ones say Superior Recipe. Everybody calls it George Dickel 12, though. Yeah, Evan Williams is a real basic bourbon and cheap. Exactly. Evan Williams. Basic and cheap, but the third component is important and good. Basic, cheap, and good. I got the green label recently, last year actually, but that's recent, for $9.98. 750 milliliters, full size amount, $9.98. Now that's cheap. And it's basic, but it's good. Now I'm talking about the 80 proof, the one that a lot of states apparently don't get. The green label, what they call it, Evan Williams green label, 80 proof, aged 3 years, charcoal filtered. They don't even list it on their website, not even on the Evan Williams website. You look on evanwilliams.com, and the first thing they show is the standard black label, 86 proof, aged 4 years. So they make a product they don't even acknowledge. Green label. I can go get green label right out the cabinet. I can go get it at Winn-Dixie right now. Well, not right now. In an hour, when it opens, I can go get it. You know what? That's not the CPKC Railroad. That's the CN Railroad, Canadian National Railroad, back closer to the river. It's just echoing around. Yeah. Canadian National Railroad. We got 2 railroads run east-west through here. Along the river. The green and white label is 100 proof. Yeah, it's a white label with green and black lettering. Exactly. It's 100, and with gold too. It's got gold on it too. It's 100 proof, right? It's bottled in bond, which definitely cannot have flavoring or coloring added. So if you say, I want strict quality control over my bourbon, I don't want bourbon that's got coloring added. You know, I don't want some flim flam stuff. Well, then get anything that says bottled in bond, because then it ain't going to be fiddled with. And it can be cheap. You can get old Overholt bottle in bond for about $23, 100 proof. You can get, but I never bought it, but you can get it. You can get the Evan Williams bottle in bond. I see it on sale sometimes for $13.99. So that's your guarantee now. That's not a big deal anymore. Years ago, back in the 1920s, and well, not the 20s, but in 1930s and 40s, and even before Prohibition, people would get bottle and bond whiskey because it was safe to drink. Because they had a problem back in the 1800s with people putting out this illicit, like they still do in India and East Africa. You hear about people dying after a party, like 24 people die because they were drinking this homemade whiskey. But they used to do that in the United States. These companies would put out stuff. It was probably not as big of a deal as they made it out to be, but they would put out stuff. And they had people dying, going blind, getting poisoned, or they would cut the whiskey with all kind of fake stuff, and it wasn't like what they claimed on the label. So they come up with the Bottled and Bond Act of 1897, Bottled and Bond Act, where when they make this whiskey, it has to be supervised by a government agent. Now, whether he's sitting there looking at his smartphone the whole time, I don't know, or she's looking at her smartphone, but they got to be on site supervising it, and they has to follow these strict protocols. So Sazerac makes Bottled and Bond products. Diageo does, I think, or maybe they do. Heaven Hill definitely does. Jack Daniels has a Bottled and Bond. Jim Beam. George Dickel does now. Yeah, that's right. They got a George Dickel Bottled and Bond. So Diageo does do it. Okay. But it's not that big of a deal anymore. Back in the old days, I was like, oh, yeah, make sure you get the bonded. Okay. Has to be a bonded warehouse. So all these intricate things. But you'll know that it has no, but you can rest assured it has no coloring or flavoring added in that. But as far as this George Dickel, I really don't know. It doesn't say straight whiskey. And I got a lot of whiskeys at this house that have coloring added, or they probably have it. We don't know. Well, some tell you on the label. Some will say on the label, caramel color added. So then you know. But that's not required, no. And some will have even natural flavors added, and they'll say it on the label. Some don't say it, but they'll say it right on the label. And when you taste it, you say, yeah, I can tell they got vanilla added to this thing here. Most people like vanilla. Some people don't. Some people hate it, you know. So if you drink one of those, you'd just be flabbergasted up with your hatred of it. This is the old charter. That is the George Dickel. I'm dragging this out because I knew what it was. Well, there's no reason to drag it out, but I knew what it was as soon as I smelt it. Yep, there's the old charter. And yep, that's the George Dickel because it tastes like Flintstone vitamins. Now, I got a lot of whiskeys in this house, but none of them taste like Flintstone vitamins except for George Dickel 12 and George Dickel Cascade Hollow. And honestly, their rye is sort of like that too, but not so glaring like these two things. But really, could it be a flavoring they're adding? I don't know. Could it be the fact that they're using some kind of rye grain that has a weird taste, like a Flintstone vitamin taste? Could it be like rye in it? Well, remember now, rye is an unusual grain. It gives you an unusual flavor profile like rye whiskeys do. So it could be that it's a variant, a strain of rye wheat. Help me now. Rye grain that is peculiar to George Dickel products that maybe they buy from a certain farming area. Maybe it's that. Let's hope it's that. It's not flavoring. There's a tobacco called, what's the name of that tobacco? Perique. Now, Perique tobacco is only grown in St. James Parish in Louisiana by a few farmers, maybe 3 farmers with these huge farms. And they sell Perique tobacco to various tobacco companies as to use in their blend because it's too strong to have on its own. You couldn't make a cigarette from Perique tobacco, no one would smoke it. You couldn't make a cigar from Perique tobacco, no one would puff it. You couldn't make chewing tobacco from Perique tobacco because no one could tolerate it. But it's got a unique flavor, and so they blend it with various other tobaccos. And they've been growing it there since the 1700s. And Perique, 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 only grows there because of a certain weird acidity in the soil there in St. James Parish, in a little village called Grand Point. Grand Point, one highway in, one highway out. There's no outlet. You go in, The only way you can get out is to turn around. It's a true story. It's like a long highway, but it doesn't go anywhere except it ends at a circle. Like you can turn around in a circle and come back at a swamp. A very big swamp, I might add, that runs from where I am all the way to Baton Rouge, really. But I wouldn't want to go wandering around out there during the day or the night, especially during the night. All right. So it's strange, isn't that? A strange acidity to the soil, which makes that the tobacco only grow there. And it could be the case that they're using a rye like that, and they got an exclusive contract with the farmers. They only sell their rye to Diageo, and they only use it in George Dickel. I don't know if that's true. That's just a theory. More likely theory is they're adding some flavor and that's making it taste weird. I don't know. Now I'm going for a walk. Friar Joseph's Brew Review says, howdy. Howdy to you. So the winner here, well, I think the winner is Old Charter, and I don't even think Old Charter is that good, but it's a standard flavor. But that strangeness from the Dickel, I'm not keen on it. So if you ask me what's the whiskey you have that you like the least, probably George Dickel. I'm not talking about those American blended whiskeys. Some of those are treacherous, but of the bourbons I have, I wouldn't buy it again. I have enough left for what? 2 taste challenges, I guess. That's enough for 2. I think that's enough for 2 taste challenges. Not for 3, no, 2. So when I close it out, it's going to stay out and it ain't coming back. But I have a lot left for the red label, the Cascade Hollow. So that's going to hang around for many taste challenges. And then, in fact, Cascade Hollow is coming next. Saturday morning. Yeah, Saturday morning. And that'll be it. No more bourbon for a while. We got American blended whiskey. You say, oh, yippee, yeah, yippee, yippee ki-yay, mother father. Yeah. I have one called Iron Wheel, and there's a whole essay on the bottle. You say, oh yeah, Sazerac, they love putting entire essays on the bottle. They do. I guess they figure you're waiting in the store shopping in liquor store line. You can read the bottle and it'll pass the time. And you can learn about iron wheels and farming. That's what the bottle's about. If the impact of the iron wheel on farming production. Crap, I missed your show. Was making a vid, says Friar Joseph. Well, you can watch the replay. I'm about to go watch a replay right now. Well, after I walk for Alabama Slammer from the original Club Tales. Bucks County Beer Reviews did Alabama Slammer, and I've reviewed it too, and I want to see what he says about it. All right, see y'all next time for another Dawnbusters Taste Challenge.